Good afternoon, everyone. It's your boy Dave P with my main man RJ Pepino with the cream today, August 27th, 2021. We are welcoming in two new members and we are going to get into some good stuff. We got some good deals going, a lot of good stuff going on in our world. And we will start with our new guys. I'll start with you, Jake, because I don't believe we have met yet. So
no, not yet.
1 minute or less, give us the rundown, what market you're in, what market you're working in, what your experience is up to this point, and kind of what you're looking to get out of the community.
Right on. I'm in the Cleveland, Ohio market. I moved here actually about a year ago from Southern California. I moved out here to flip houses with a buddy. We did that for a year. He moved away. I decided that I wanted to pursue real estate full time, and I'm just trying to land my first wholesale deal. That's why I'm here. I figured, I've watched all this stuff on YouTube, the TTP guy and whatnot. I thought coaching would be the next step. So here we go.
Right on, man. Well, I'm from Cleveland. I'm from Euclid, Ohio, originally. Pretty
Nice.
familiar with that market.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still got family up there. I'm up there all the time. So I know the market pretty well. We're doing some marketing out there, and I think there's definitely going to be opportunities for us to create some alignment and exchange value. That's what we're about. And Mr. Nathan Rayborn, Nate, Nathan, RJ, and I already know you. Obviously, we do some business with your uncle. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for the people watching the recording, as well as introduce yourself to Jake.
All right, Nathan Rayburn. I'm in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Mainly into, the beginning of Airbnb. Bought my first deal. Now I want to go into buying deals in my local area to then be able to keep buying vacation rentals in hotter markets. So my wife actually went part-time. She's going to be here in a little bit, but she's like all bought in. So she's been watching y'all's videos. So she wants to learn too. So hopefully it can be like a little team thing and, rocket ship out of the 9 to 5 type of work schedule.
Yep.
That's what we're here for, man. We're all about creating financial freedom for ourselves, for our families. It's why anyone gets involved in real estate. I put this I put this notion out there to another group, or I was doing a video, I think, or something. I was like, talking about real estate. And I was like, I basically said in the video, I'm like, that's why anyone gets involved in real estate, is to create financial freedom. Even people who want to be realtors, I think people know the opportunity to build wealth in real estate. And maybe sometimes people think that being a realtor is the stepping stone to do that. I don't think anyone really wants to drive people around and work with buyers and stuff like that. I think ultimately, in the pit of everybody's heart, everybody wants to be a real estate investor, because that's what's going to create the financial freedom. Even if you're the best realtor in the whole world, eventually the deals are going to run out. I mean, if you're not acquiring assets and building cash flow, I don't know what to tell you. You're always going to be chasing the next deal. So you're in the right place if that's what you're about, because that's what we're about. And RJ, take it away, my friend. What are we getting into here today? We got some good stuff cooking.
Yep. So, this coaching call was going to be about getting started and how to set up your marketing. We're going to postpone that until next week. But definitely check out our resources, because we have a ton of resources for you to tools that you could use to get your marketing started. If you're already doing that, like you said, Jake, you're kind of already wholesaling over there in Cleveland. And what Dave was saying is that there's definitely some alignment. We're buying in Cleveland as well. We don't like the point of sale areas all too much, but we have buyers there that like that area too. So we like to stay out of those areas. But anyways, today's call is going to be about a really slam dunk deal that Dave just solidified it today, because Dave spends a lot of his time in the acquisitions side of the business. He's one of the best salespeople that I know. And we have created this really cool, unique system where we're actually using virtual assistants. We've trained them, we've vetted them out. They speak amazing English. And I don't know if you guys have gotten a lot of cold calls before for real estate, but we always do, because we have we have a lot of properties, and these cold callers are just so terrible and painful to listen to that sometimes I just want to like say, hey, can you put me in touch with your boss?
Yeah.
Oh, like help them. Yeah, man, you know, like, but so we've created this system in acquisitions where Dave, you know, he'll sometimes take a phone call. Right now we are short an acquisitions person. So he is taking the phone calls for areas that we are definitely going to be buying and holding or flipping. And today he just solidified a 100K spread on a deal in the better side of Dayton. So we're also in Dayton. We're all over Ohio. And Dayton is one of the markets that we're buying. So we wanted to go over that deal, what marketing channel we use to get that deal, the conversation, and Dave, it's fresh on his mind. So we want to kind of share that and how he got to build such an amazing rapport with this lady to where today she just said, hey, look, she's willing to take less on the deal, which it was already an awesome deal, but he was able to get at least, I think it was like almost $20,000 off the deal based on what we found out. And so we're going to go and analyze that deal for you, because I know, Nathan, you're kind of talking about maybe doing some off-market strategies to kind of get some deals to do the BRRRR strategy. And Jake, you're in the thick of it. I mean, you're already doing some of your marketing. And so hopefully this will allow you to use some of the strategies that we use every day to get deep discounts so that you can pull out cash on cash out refi, or have huge spreads so that you can use that to put as down payments if that's what you want. Just make a boatload of money. So Dave, go over that particular deal in I believe it's in Beaver Creek, right?
Yeah, and I'm going to share my screen here in a minute, and I'm going to show you the system that we use, and I encourage you guys to implement all the stuff that we use, you know. And I want to show you guys also just within the Cream community real quick on where you can find a bunch of stuff. And we're going to have a hard stop at like 4:45 and then leave the last 15 minutes open for you guys for questions. And they can be questions about anything we talk about today or any other deals or leads that you're working on, because that's important. You got to be talking to people. And I know if you're just getting started, if you're not on the phone with sellers every single day, like we're training a new acquisitions guy right now. And like we're kind of going through the motions and, you know, teaching them the technology behind it. We all got to kind of know that stuff, right? You got to know how to check your email. You got to know how to answer the phone, but the money is made talking to sellers. And if you don't have sellers to talk to, we got to correct that right off the bat. You got to be marketing actively. So real quick, let me just share my screen and let me go over to the Cream community. And if you go within the group and click on topics to the left, and then scroll down, and we're going to clean this up a little bit, guys. I understand that the way it's not the most user-friendly, but we're going to be kind of creating some videos on kind of how to navigate it a little bit better. But what I want you to do is go to topics on the left-hand side, scroll down a little bit and go to resources, and then click on this very top one. It says like, it's what it looks like, tools, resource links for the Cream community. Got a lot of good feedback on this, but if you just click on the image, this is everything we use. And what we should do and what we are going to do is really document, like create a topic, like a subtopic for each one of these. But look, this is all the stuff we use. So for our data and texting and stuff, we use Batch. We buy data from Batch. Another source, you know, what we use for our cold calling is Call Tools. Use our link if you want to use the same thing we're using. For our Podio CRM, that's what we use, like to manage our leads. Here's the link. We use InvestorFuse and so on and so forth. Here's the prop stream. I sent that to you, Nathan. We get a lot of data from prop stream. Every week we're diving in there. We did a video within the Cream community as well on exactly how we're running our searches. And, you know, I encourage you guys to get in there and check that stuff out. These resources are what we are using. And then if you click on resources and look at all this stuff, there's good stuff. Like this is cold calling, you know, this is like what we talked about. This is how we do our cold calling. This is like our business. All of these things Here's our sales script. So like dig in there, go to topics and dig around in those resources. It's going to serve you well. Another thing that we use, guys, this is our actual dashboard. And we don't have a referral link because we're not getting anything for you guys using this. But this is what our reps use and this is what we use. And this is the deal that we're about to be going over here today. 967 Greenway. And let's copy that real quick. And it's cool. So look, this deal came from direct mail. You see our lead sources. We're getting a lot of leads right now from direct mail, web leads, and cold call. If you're just getting started, I don't encourage you to jump right into web leads. This is like a finely tuned thing that we've been doing for a long time. If you got the money to swing it, go for direct mail, but you should absolutely be cold calling every single day and setting goals around how many calls that you're going to make. That's the most cost-effective way to do this. And it's it gets you in front of the most people quickly. So 967, look at this is how we do it, guys. We got our exit strategy. We're going to do a wholesale on this. It's a 3-2 1154 square feet. And the way we do this is we get the people over the phone, we get them interested, and we got like a setter closer type of situation where, like, you know, we got like cold callers who are casting a wide net. We got like 4 or 5 cold callers right now. And then when they get somebody kind of interested on the phone, it goes over to the lead manager. His name is Zeus. He's another virtual assistant, but this lead manager could very easily be you. The cold caller and the person screening these deals, everything could be you, and it should be you when you're first getting started. But we've scaled it up a little bit. So we got like 4 or 5 cold callers. And when they got somebody who's kind of interested in selling, it goes over to Zeus, who's the lead manager. And when they're really motivated and like good deals, he'll bring me in. So this way I only have to talk to people, you know, who are actually interested. And check this out. So we thought, and this just changed down to 169. This used to be higher. So, and I'm going to explain kind of how we got this deal, but the OM ARV, what that is operations manager ARV. And I'm not even following my own advice here. This is my deal, but I didn't fill out my acquisitions rep ARV. And I only predicted this thing to be worth around 250. I'm very conservative with my numbers, the way I always do it, just how I've been and how I am. I don't know why, but I'm just a pessimist when it comes to things sometimes. And but our operations manager is very confident that she can sell this thing for 278. We're getting it for 169. That's the actual price. And the rehab estimate came in at only at 16,000. So we're basically all in for 186, and it's worth between 250 and 278. So we're going to splash this thing up, and we're going to turn around and sell this thing and make money. Because
Each market, we have a dedicated inspector. Okay, this inspector will take pictures just like Dave is going to show you right here. Okay, so we have our in-house, we have a transaction coordinator that takes it from the rep, okay, hands it off to the transaction coordinator, and she's coordinating the inspections, talking to the seller, making sure we have our set time and confirming, and then the inspector goes there. Guys, so we do our rehab estimates by pictures and also on the phone with the inspector. Now, in the beginning, you know, I suggest that you get a contractor out there just to kind of give you some numbers, and it's also going to give you a chance to start talking to contractors. You're going to need to talk to contractors, but we've developed a system, and we can share the system with you to do a rehab estimate and get close as possible accurate to what true rehabs are. Now we might be off like 5 or 10%, but we actually borrow enough to cover that. We call that the fudge factor or the contingency factor. But we're able to get an estimate by pictures and the inspector, as you can see. So this house does need a little bit of work, but it's not, you know, it's not a complete tear down, you know?
It just needs a cleanup, like, you know, like definitely not a tear down. It's got very, very strong bones. It's just lived in and dirty, you know. And these are our favorite ones, aren't they, RJ?
Yeah, the cosmetic rehabs is what we like to do the burr strategy, and also to right now, since the market's hot, there's not a lot of inventory and demand is high. So this one, you can splash it up and put it on the MLS, and, you know, make a fat, you know, spread on this deal. So the inspector who went out there, you know, we had a conversation with them and they're like, yeah, there's no concerns, you know, there's nothing in the basement that's gonna show up on a, you know, inspection from the buyer's agent or whatever. So that's why we're pulling the trigger on this.
So the biggest thing that I wanted to kind of share here, the reason we're flipping this is I mean, yes, we're a buy and hold company. RJ and I buy and hold a ton, but we still got to flip to keep the lights on. So when you guys are building your portfolio, you got to keep flipping. It's not this like, oh, I'm a flipper. Oh, that sucks. I'm a buy and hold guy. No, you're everything. It's like, you got to just keep the train rolling here, and you really got to keep the marketing pumping. But here's the biggest breakthrough here. And RJ, I didn't even share this with you when we were prepping for this call, but this is the biggest lesson that I got for you guys. And this is kind of what I'm training our new acquisitions guy. This is how I was able to get a better deal from this lady. First off, you should always be, here's the process. So we get the person in contract. And the way we get them in contract, guys, is we're like, hey, this is our process. You know, we're going to send an inspector out, and, you know, I need to get a purchase agreement. And it just says that that you're serious about selling your house. You know, we're not going to send our inspector out to every single person who calls our company and says they want to sell. No, we need to know that you're serious about selling. If this inspection, assuming this inspection comes back good, we just need to know that, yeah, you're the actual seller and we have permission to inspect the house. You know, so like I kind of use the contract conversation like, hey, this is just part of the process. I got to get this thing in contract with you so I can send the inspector out. This is just normal business. I mean, and I even say things like this, even if you signed up, even if you called Stanley Steamer right now, they're going to make you sign some kind of agreement before they send the guy out and even set foot. You need permission to get inside the house. You know what I mean? Like, so I kind of use that as like a formality, like, oh, well, first we start out with the contract, then we do the inspection, assuming everything goes well, then, you know, we're going to take this thing right to the closing table and we're going to make you one of our many successful testimonials. Now, and you got to prep them a little bit. You got to be like, yeah, so I'm going to go through this inspection with you. And really, that is everything that we purchased, the way we purchase. I just want you to know I'm not the bad guy here, but everything is formula driven. So they're going to look at how much repairs are needed to get it into the condition that the bank is going to refinance it. And I tell them that. I tell them like, look, this is what we do. The reason we're able to buy your house quickly is because, yes, we're going to close on your house with one of our private lenders. Now, here's the thing, Mr. Seller, and I don't expect you to master this stuff and know this stuff or really care. I mean, it's your cash at the end of the day. But when we buy your house, that's very expensive money for the company. I mean, we're talking, I say like 15, 18%. I mean, it could be for some people, right? But I say it's very expensive. So after we close and you're out of the picture, now we're just getting started. Now we got to get to work and we've got to get the house into condition so the bank is willing to refinance us. That's the only way we're successful here. So that's what we're looking at with this inspection. We've got to see how much work it's going to take to get it in bank approval condition. Okay, Mrs. Seller, Mr. Seller, that's kind of how this works. So I'm going to do the contract with you right now over the phone, and the inspector's going to go out there. Then I'm going to go through the inspection with you. If we have to go back to the drawing board, we'll discuss it at that time. But if everything looks good, which I assume it's going to be just fine, we're going to take this thing to the closing table. But that's kind of how this works. It is all formula driven. I don't care what's in your house. I don't care if there's clutter. Anything you leave behind is going to be donated to the local church or the local Habitat for Humanity. That's what we do. You know, like I make it feel good. Like you can leave everything behind, but I need to send this inspector out. That's the next part of this process. And then the next part after that, Mr. Seller, is we're going to go through this inspection together and we're going to kind of discuss the repairs. Because what you're doing is setting up that next phone call. You're already in contract. Now you got your inspection, and now what that next setup is, you're coming in for a better deal. You got to get a better deal now. That's kind of how this works. Like you're going to beat them up throughout the whole thing, but you're not the bad guy, and you're making it very clear that like this is just the formula. This is the formula. I don't know. I'm trying on your side. So it's always you and the seller on the same team against the bank or the finance department or the inspector or whatever you want to put in there. But you and the seller are constantly together in this process. It starts with the contract, then the inspection, then you're setting up the next call to go through the inspection, but that's where you're actually beating them up more to get a better price. This is where we're at so far. So what do you got, RJ? And then we'll kind of open it up for loose questions there.
We call that enrollment, right? So when we were creating a process and system around this was just Dave's way of selling, and we didn't really understand it, but we broke it down into what's called enrolling. He's enrolling the seller to be on his side. Whatever the seller is saying as you use the form, family, occupation, recreation, you're going to come up with ways to build rapport. They're going to give you hints like, oh man, you know, like a divorce situation. Yeah, fucking husband, blah, blah, blah. You know, ladies pissed off the husband. Well, guess what Dave's going to do? Guess what you're going to do? You're going to use that as a way to enroll that your seller to be on your side. And the bad guy is who? The husband, right? And you're like, look, I can do this for you. Let me, get this in contract right now. And so that you can be done with this and you're done with your husband. You know what I mean? So it always goes back to that pain point where you can, it's called enrolling. What was the seller originally asking, Dave, when you put it in contract versus you already knew it was kind of worth around 230, 40, like 250-ish, based on your initial findings. And then
Sure.
she put it in contract for what amount?
So they originally wanted 200,000. And then we went through this process and went through the inspection, and we got them down to like really like 180. Like, this is it. We can get this thing done for 180. And then today, and just through the rapport building, you find out the seller's real motivation. And here's the thing, guys. This is such a solid source of deals. It's ridiculous. Turns out that the seller's daughter, low-life daughter, was living in the house rent-free for like years upon years. And the seller never had the courage to step up to this low-life daughter and actually make her go move out, live on her own. 40-year-old daughter has never paid a bill in her life, this and that. That is these sellers want to avoid conflict like no one would believe, right? So it turns out that the seller told the daughter, and we were going to do the deal and we'll handle the seller. That's what we tell sellers, like we'll handle the daughter. We'll be the bad guys. Don't worry about it. You can save face. No, all the family members, whenever they rent to another family member and it doesn't work out, they never want to be the one to boot them out. Like, it's so
Those are
good.
really the best deals that we've done. Is that
Best deals? They're the best deals. And so then it turns out that once the seller was cool with 180, then it turns out that the daughter got pissed off in a huff and, kind of like left some clutter behind and like packed up and moved out with her boyfriend. Perfect. I'm like, that was great. I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, oh, wow, okay. And she's like, well, don't worry. My husband's going to go and clean up. These are good people, like, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Wow. Hey, well, I got the seller on my side. Like, yeah, well, tough love is the best love. So it sounds like my sister. She's still mooching off my mom. And it's like, it pisses me off. And like, because it's true, like you find that common ground. But she was like, yeah, she left all this stuff behind. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's all good. And then she was like, and I guess on the title, there's a lien because they did some weird rental of an AC unit anyway. And it turns out the seller owes 140 something. They wanted to collect like around, 40, 35, 40 grand, but then it turns out that they have a second lien against their house for 17,000, right? And the title company just came with this information. Mildred, our title girl, called and was like, yeah, they got a second for 17. So they're not able to get the 30 or 40 that, they were expecting. So I was expecting to kind of have this conversation like, oh shit, like, well, you're not going to get the money that you thought. I don't know what this AC thing is. I don't know, like these are the weird conversations you have to have. But then the seller's like, what? The AC people put a lien on my house? I can't believe this. I just want out. I just want to get out of this thing. I want no more debt in my name. I want no mortgage. I want this AC thing handled. So then I turned it right into, so if we can get this thing fully paid off, make sure there's no more AC thing, make sure the mortgage is all paid off. I mean, is this thing good to go then? I mean, yes, just make sure I don't have a bill. I don't want another bill. They didn't care about the money. They just want to be debt free. So now the conversation went from what are we buying the house for, which originally was like that 180 that we negotiated. Now it's just pay off all the liens, and all the liens end up adding to be 169. So whenever you could get the seller to get their real motivation, and you're either talking about how much they're expecting to net, talk about what the seller is expecting to net rather than what the purchase price is going to be. Because the purchase price is always more, a tougher negotiation. But if you're like, look, if you're like, yeah, well, how much do you want for the house? 180, 160, 180, it doesn't matter, right? But if you could get to the raw point of like, what do you owe? And then how much were you expecting to net? It's a softer way to negotiate, rather, because everybody wants to haggle over price. But if you explain to these sellers, we got to pay the closing costs, we got to pay the cost of money, we got to pay all this. What are you trying to net? And like, what do you owe? And let's get to the root of this payoff. So it's much easier to negotiate if they owe, let's say 150 and they only want to net 15. Well, you're going to get like 65, 165. That's your price. Rather than if the house is worth, 250, I'll give you 165 for it. It sounds so much lower. But if you could talk about, hey, what if we get everything paid off and you're going to net this number and you know what the payoff is, it's much softer to negotiate in terms of what they're going to net rather than talking about a hard and fast purchase price. Does that make sense, guys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So that's a good deal, and I'm happy about that. But let's open it up to you guys for questions and I know we're going fast, but we want to cover as much as we can in the time that we have here. Go ahead. Either of you guys got a question? What do you got?
Hey, you said that you found the house due to direct mail. Was there did they come back with anything else? You just sent them a direct mail message that just says, hey, we buy houses or whatever the case may be. I mean, how's the strategy on that, or what's on the card?
So
I'll pull the card up, Dave.
Pull the card up. He's gonna pull the card up, and we'll share it with you, Nathan.
Yeah, I like that because I hear a lot about like handwritten stuff, like being like the hot thing right now. So I'm interested too.
This card we send out. This is RJ's favorite card to send out. What do you see? What it looks like? It's ridiculous.
The highest response that we get, guys, on this card. So you're going to be very surprised.
What other questions you got while he pulls that up? You got something, Jake?
Yeah, actually, I might have asked RJ over Instagram, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, but right now I'm on PropStream, right? I got the whole PropStream set up and all that. I've been using their skip tracing, and I just want to know from your guys' experience, because I haven't tried anybody else to skip trace. I'm getting like a ton of like bad data pretty much. And I hear like it's part of the game, but is there a way to like get through? Because I don't have like a quick dial or anything like that. It's all punch, punching it in, everything like that. So I'm calling 6, 7 different numbers for trying to, get in contact with one seller. So is batch like that much better? Are you getting more consistent data, or?
We did a test recently against a new one that we were trying out called Skip Force. And all I can tell you is that our batch results came back better than Skip Force. We've never pinned them toe to toe with PropStream. But let me ask you, Vic, have you considered getting a dialer? It's not that much money.
I actually haven't. I've never, I've just never looked into it. I kind of just like got PropStream and went like full steam, just into trying to cold call people.
Okay. So if you go in the resources thing, I mean, I think you should sign up for the because that's what we do. We got the speed dialer, and we got a kind of expensive one. It's like, for 6 people, so it's like a couple $100 a month. But for one person, I bet you it's pretty cheap. And I'm putting it in the chat right now, by the way, for call tools, but it's worth it, man, because of your time. Think how many more contacts you'll make if you could just import your entire thing and then boom, boom, boom,
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. I sit there and I'm like on my Google Voice all day, just like staring at numbers, trying to, punch them in. It's crazy.
So that's gonna be interesting. Hold up.
Guys, ready for this? This is the big one. We call this the ugly postcard.
That's awesome.
No way.
This is the one, man. I'm telling you.
So silly.
And I can put this in. I'll put this in our coaching group, and you just take this to your house, and they can implement this. But this right here, ugly as hell postcard, it's gonna just keeps it. I mean, the phone rings, man. The phone rings. This little smiley face. I drew this.
Oh, that's silly. That's so silly. So we're gonna share this with you in the Cream community, and then I just wrote down if we can refer you guys to our mail house if you guys don't have one, and just use whoever's gonna be cheapest for you guys. That's what we're all about. We're all just
I'm putting this in the tools, in the tools area, the resources area. Okay, like what Dave was showing you. I'm going to topics. I'm going to go in acquisitions, and then that's where I'm going to put this in.
So it's going to take consistency, guys. You guys know this. Like, we're talking about buying houses and selling houses and making deals. But another one of our students, he was like one of the OGs of really the Cream when RJ and I were just starting this stuff. He just did a $38,000 deal last week, and we got the video to show you. Like, he just did a testimonial video for us. The money's there. He's been banging away at the phones. Yeah, he's been banging away at the phones for a couple months, but whatever. I mean, come on. People just don't want to work. They don't want to get off their butt and work. Like, you just gotta keep making calls all day, whatever. Get the phone ringing. But if you're not talking to sellers, you're not going to do any deals.
Yeah.
So we want to put a big emphasis on marketing. And then when it comes to the negotiation part, we can help you through that. And we're even willing to like hop on the phone with the seller, like for coaching, why not? If it's a decent deal and it looks good and they're kind of like motivated and we see there's a spread there, make us your partner. Be like, oh, my partner is going to hop on the phone with you, and we'll just do it right here.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, but obviously it's got to be potential. We don't want some
just bring it to this weekly call, and this is going to be like 4 p.m. Eastern. It's going to stay like this until the group decides that there's a different time to do this, but we'll do a live call together, man. It'll be great. So I just put that in the acquisitions as an ugly postcard. So feel free to copy it, put it on, give it to your mail house. They'll just need to see a picture of it. It's in PDF format. Obviously change the numbers to reflect yours, your number and stuff like that. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm going to open it back up. I want you guys to ask me questions just about your business, where you're at. I know you're just starting out, especially you, Nathan. Now's the time, man. We've been waiting all week to talk to you, but I just want to share one thing with you here real quick. I will put this in the chat for you as well, but so the Burr is where it's at. You can make a crap ton of money doing the Burr, and we got it set up now with one of our lenders. You were there. You remember, Nathan, when I was sitting with you at the bar with Bill Fairman, and I was talking about refining like 70 properties with Bill's guy, and he's like, let me see if I can do it for you, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
And for the record, if your wife's there listening, Nathan did not have anything to drink that night. Okay, he's a very responsible guy. I drank for the both of us. But you remember that I was talking about that deal. I'm like, look how much money we're about to pull out, this big deal. Well, we did a call with Bill's people, and his rate came in higher than our guys. So we got it worked out with our lender, Lima One Capital, and we got a Cream referral link now where you could use them, and it's going to be the same people who do our loans. I just put it in the chat, So it's lima1.com/cream/. But copy and paste these links, guys, because you can just fill it out, get pre-approved with them, and then we can talk about deals on these calls, get them financed for us. And Nathan, so I'll share this with you, Jake. Nathan's uncle is one of our private lenders, just one of them. You know, we work with a ton of them, but then Nathan's uncle was like, dude, you got to like talk to Dave and RJ. And that's how we found the community and met us. And we've hung out a little bit, but that's what it's about. You buy these things cheap off market with private money. Done. We got all the paperwork. We can teach you how to raise the money. This is how it works. After you buy it, you get it fixed up, get it rented out, or get it fixed up and sell it, make a profit. Perfect. Pay back your private money lender, keep the profits. Or you get it rented out, take it down to the bank. I just shared a link with you. You put a 4.5, between 4.5 and 5%, 30-year fixed rate mortgage on it, pull out, you know.
Yeah. What's your guys' typical seasoning period?
So they want 3 months with the link that I just shared with you, but that ain't
That's
bad.
killer.
It's
No,
good.
that's killer.
Yeah.
Banks are like 8, 9, and 12 months.
Yeah.
So I think this is probably and listen, well, if you're doing these rehabs, you're probably going to be around, you know, depending on the level of rehab, 25 to 35 days. You got to get it rented. So just in time, if you fill the pipeline of your rentals, once they're all ready, you can just take that package and go right to, you know, just it's like a conveyor belt. Take it to the local bank, boom, it's refinanced, start collecting cash flow, do it again. The best thing though, or the number one key to this is to find those off-market deals where you have fat spreads that when you pull out, you know, the cash out refinance, the tax-free money, you have a big amount that you're taking out. And you don't want to go out and start, you know, buying all kinds of crazy shit. Like don't be done with the money. Make sure you put some reserves, because if and when that resident does move out, then your reserves can cover that cost. It absorbs it, and then you just can continue to fill that up. So, and then, I mean, when you're doing Airbnbs like my man Nathan is, you know, those Airbnbs are hot right now, especially like, you know, in the Cleveland area, Jake, you're looking probably closer to the lake. You know, the lake areas right there where people are, it's like we're calling them regional vacation spots. Those are hot right now. In Ohio, you got the lakes, whether it's Lake Erie, Indian Lake, Logan Lake, and then Hocking Hills, another area where you can, that's what the Airbnb model. But that is, that's the scoop with what we've been up to here. And we've got a really big deal coming up. And Jake, your local, it's kind of some stuff that Dave and I are planning is some workshops that we're going to have here in Columbus, where we're going to do some kind of like more of like an in-house setup where you can kind of meet our team and get to kind of know our team. And we're going to be doing a little bit more deeper dive into all of these systems, the call tools, breaking down, you know, the whole direct mail process, because it's like a bunch of sequences that we have. So that's what's coming up. We're going to be going through our acquisitions kind of department and talking about, you know, how we have acquired over 150 units, and we're getting ready to acquire 433 units here in September. So we're going to be pretty busy, but we're going to be breaking down that deal. Dave and I are all about keeping the team lean so that you can keep all the green. And it's not like we're this huge, massive operation, and you certainly can.
We're all about catchphrases as well. So Nathan, I see you have your wife here. So finally, we have the brains of the operation has joined us, and the beauty. So welcome to the community. We're buddies with Nathan as well. I'm sure he told you we hung out down in Dallas, right?
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah. What's your name?
Caitlin.
Hey, Caitlin. I know you guys are in it. Together. So we've hit our like 4:45 mark. So let's like talk about questions, actual questions you guys got. Nathan, I know you got some questions. Jake, I'm interested to see, and it could be anything, not just about the one deal that I shared with you today, and how to get a better deal, talking about the seller's net rather than, the actual purchase price. That's all good stuff. But where are you at in your business? Anything you're stuck on? Let's hammer through this call.
Nice. Go for it, Nathan.
All right, so I guess I have a couple of questions that have to do with PropStream, which I've been running through, looking at a couple of deals. Well, not any deals, but I know of a couple places in my town, like right by my house. One's a duplex that I called last year on. They weren't willing to sell, but it's still sitting there getting, all trashed up and everything. And there's a couple other houses in the area, but when I get on PropStream and I know those houses because I've drove by them, I've drove around the area a lot. And, but when I'm looking at PropStream and I'm searching like maybe tired landlords or whatever, half of those places won't have it won't have any type of picture, any idea if it's distressed or not. How are y'all getting through that? Are y'all just finding the address and doing a like Google Earth, drag the street view and seeing what it looks like just to get an idea if it's distressed or not? Because a lot of things I find on PropStream, even though they might fit the criteria, maybe this is just me not knowing, is some of the houses look pretty damn good.
It's okay. So if I may, you got to get the whole list and just attack everybody. And you're waiting for the person who's like, yeah, I want to sell my house. Because distressed does not always mean that the house is messed up. It could be just a messed up personal situation that they're going through. And we like those ones even better because that means the house is in better shape, but their life is in shambles. Those are good ones too. So distressed is not always a physicality thing. It means like, this person needs cash. I'll tell you, who the people that we buy from, that we want to buy from, is not like the, astute person who understands their finances very well and who, wants to research and they want to like pick the best realtor to sell their house. Like that is not our customer at all. Our customer is the guy who worked his butt off. He worked 10 hours a day. And, he stops at the grocery store, stops at the gas station, gets himself some tall boys and some scratcher tickets, goes home, drinks his tall boys, wakes up and does it all again. He's just like, I'm done with this house. I'm done with this. I'm moving or doing something. I'm doing something different. You know what I mean? Like, so we don't know what's going on in these people's lives. So we have to assume everything is a lead. So we want to get our hands on as much data as possible and just get in front of them any way we can through cold calling, through any means of marketing. And then once these leads start to come in, hey, I wanted to see what you're all about. That's where you start to negotiate, find out what's really going on, find out why they're selling. And if the house is in good shape, but they got a messed up situation, that's even better for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. Because when I seen the house that you just showed, I was like, man, that's not bad. It doesn't look too damn bad, right? The inside's cluttered or whatever, but those were ones that I was looking at and I'm like, well, I mean, I guess for me, not knowing, why would somebody give such a great discount on a house that's not bad? Well, I guess if you got a bad situation, I guess I wouldn't really think about it like that. I'm thinking these people are like just trashy ass people and they've got their houses all jacked up and they're like, well, yeah, I'll take 50 grand for the house or 30 grand,
Financial distress shows up in different ways.
Absolutely. And we like the houses that I'm telling you, especially when you're first getting rolling. RJ, I'll tell you this. He just said that when we were talking about this deal, the cosmetic rehabs are going to serve us much better than these giant rehabs where we're gutting the thing because there's so much risk involved with the big rehabs. When you got to deal with contractors, cut a contractor a big check and the money's not even yours, it's a private lender's check, and you're hoping this guy shows up on the job and doesn't rip you off. It's like, and we have ways to protect yourself from contractors. We did a video. You got to go through our videos, man. We got a whole archive. Go through them all. And RJ provided all the paperwork and previous posts in the community as well. Go through it. But no, man, we want less is better. We don't want these giant works. But yeah, sometimes it's not about the money for these people. Like the woman selling us this house right now, all she wants is to be debt free. I don't even care about the money. She has money. She's like, I just want out from under this thing, be done with it. And I don't want to be the one to evict my daughter. It's just crazy, but they don't care. the driving force. What other questions you got? You got something, Jay or Nathan?
No, that was cool. I dug that because I've like been kind of struggling with that too. Like honestly, I populated most of my lists with driving for dollars. Like I physically went out and spent 4 or 5 hours on a Saturday or something like that. Or and you know, I had like around 400 houses actually, and I just exhausted my list the other day, like literally like 2 days ago. And before that, when I was still with my buddies flipping, we had tried to get some off market deals because that's where it's at, right?
You have to.
So we went through PropStream, did the whole like absentee landlord or tired landlords, all that. And every person I would call was like, dude, stop calling this house. You're the 10th person today. And you just get through 100 of them and you just felt discouraged. Yeah. Well, that's
where you get up and you walk around a little bit, take a breather, go get a workout in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you're just you got to hammer this thing. And you said, Jake, oh, we've exhausted the list already. A lead is not exhausted until they've either sold the house to somebody else or reported you to the attorney general. You know what I'm saying? This is where we're at here. But no, I'm not kidding. There's no exhausting yet.
Got to go at it from at the cold calling. They hate the cold calling. We'll slide some ringless voicemails in and do a text campaign. We use Text Magic. You can use it on Batch as well, but Text Magic we found is the best because there's no like regulations of it. Now that's like our third option. It's cold calling, it's ringless voicemail, it's text. Okay.
But keep pounding, right, RJ?
Yeah.
I mean, we can't just be like, oh, that was the leads and that was it. We're done now.
Maybe send them the ugly postcard. You know what I mean? Maybe do a handwritten one. You know.
Don't just go in the bad neighborhoods there, Jake. Like in the rough ones, go to the nicer suburbs, you know, and whatnot, and drive for dollars on garbage day and look for the people who didn't put a garbage can out.
Yeah.
What's going on? Why didn't they put their garbage out? Maybe it's a super elderly person. Maybe it's vacant, but you want to get to those ones. Yeah. Those are great deals. I mean, it's easy to find junky houses in junky areas. It's a little harder to find the nicer areas, but the nicer ones are going to make you way more money. And it's so much easier.
Too, when you're driving around and you see someone's like rehabbing a house, you see the dumpsters. Okay, go around that neighborhood and look for houses in that neighborhood. Okay, because you know there's activity there. They see the dumpsters. They know what's going on. People are thinking maybe I should sell my house too.
I think that's a hard part to get my mind wrapped around because I guess you ride around in these nicer neighborhoods. It's hard to visually be able to tell. You might see some with some tall grass or whatnot, but you can ride around in a shitty neighborhood and you can find houses that are jacked up everywhere, but probably a little too much work. Like I rode around today and I saw like 10 or 15 houses. I rode around for like 5 minutes.
It's going to be the rougher areas, man. If you could get the better areas, I'm telling you, it's a little bit more work, but there's more money in those deals,
Yeah.
Some less is sometimes more. We got about 5 minutes, guys. What are the questions coming up for you? Nathan?
Actually, I had one about, what I've come across lately is in the nicer neighborhoods, ones that look vacant. Like I have one literally 6 doors down from me that I've been like drooling over because there's nobody there. Trash can't stay up by the house, like everything you're talking about. And I went to skip trace them and it's in an LLC. So then it's like, how do I get a hold of that person?
Secretary of State website, the business
Secretary
of State website. Just Google search. Go ahead, RJ.
Yeah, Secretary of State, and then see who that is behind the LLC. If you find that it's an attorney, right? Then go to the recorder's office. Okay, go to the recorder's office and type in that address. Okay, and then pull up the documents of the deed. We'll see who signed the deed. That'll give you the name of whoever's behind that LLC. Now that you have the name, okay, now you can either go on social media, go to LinkedIn, go to Facebook, and shoot them a message. And not a creepy message. Just like, hey, I'm your neighbor. I was just walking my dog, going for a run, driving my car. and I'm looking for another house to buy in this area. I was wondering if you're the owner and if you're interested in selling.
Mhm. Sweet. Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Well,
I think that's
So-
pretty.
Yeah,
much
just gotta.
As far as my questions were, I mean, y'all pretty much answered everything I had written down just through this. When y'all were talking about the deal that y'all just got.
okay.
Yeah.
So use the community and get active in there. If you got questions outside of this call and you need help with something, post it in the community. Sometimes other members will answer it. And Dave and I are definitely on top of that. If there's a question in there, we'll answer it. We'll probably do a video or something about it, and answer your questions there. Cool.
Sweet. Yeah, we appreciate it, guys, for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, write your questions down, put them in the group, and then we'll see you in the same next week, same day, same time. All right.
Heck yeah.
All right. Have a
Thanks.
great week, guys. Talk soon.
Right on. Take it easy, guys.
Bye.